to the Eccles Business Buzz podcast. I'm your host, Frances Johnson. Thanks for joining me today for another great conversation about the new strategic priorities here at the David Eccles School of Business and the exciting developments and ambitious goals in our future. The third pillar of our new strategic plan is related to the reputation and legacy of the school, and Eccles alums are a key part of this priority. Here to talk about how Eccles School alumni can support this and all our new strategic priorities are Nick Marsh and Paige Erickson. Nick Marsh is the chair of the David Eccles Alumni Network Board. He works as a financial advisor with the Mikolos Group at Morgan Stanley and was recently named Global Sports and Entertainment Associate Director as part of the Morgan Stanley Global Sports and Entertainment Division. He received a bachelor's in science in business administration from the Eccles School and also played football for the Utes during his time here at the U. Paige Erickson is chair of the Eccles Advisory Board. She earned a BS in marketing from the Eccles School and an MBA from the University of Texas at Austin. She spent her career as a senior leader in 5 technology companies, including IBM and Workfront, and now works as a strategic consultant, board member, and board leader. Nick and Paige, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course.
Thanks for having us.
Well, Nick and Paige, both of you were part of this strategic planning process, which we've been talking about throughout this season. In your roles as board chairs, you were a key part of those discussions. I'd love to start us off today by hearing about what stuck out to you about the process and what you're most excited about for this new strategic direction for the school. Nick, let's start with you.
I think the thing that stuck out with me to me the most was really Dean Dirks. With him coming in, he has been everywhere. I am very active in all things business school, and he has been at every single event. He asks questions. He talks to the alumni. He talks to the students. Basically, our opinions have mattered, and I really appreciate that. I think the other piece, like what am I most excited about? I'm a very competitive person, and I think the goal of top 10 business school in the next or by 2030 is something that excites me. I know when I came to the school, I don't think we were even ranked. So that's something I can get behind, if you will.
I love that. No one has brought in the competitive side of what we're talking about here. But yeah, we want to be really good, right? We want to be one of the best. I think that's a great perspective. Paige, how about you? As you went through the process, was there anything that stuck out to you? And what are you looking forward to in the next phase of the Eccles School?
Well, I think that the key thing that I thought was it was a very comprehensive approach. I think he and the whole team did a really good evaluation, including lots of different stakeholders. And then I think they came up with a strategy and a design. And then lately, I think what I've really been impressed with is going out and sharing the draft ideas with the stakeholders and getting feedback. So it's evolved over time, and I think it's gotten better and better with each rep. And I think what excites me most is, I've been on the board for a while, and it was great when, Dean Taylor was leading us. And I think that last version of the strategic plan that took us through the last 10 years was great. And I think, I think Nick would agree. I mean, it's come a long way really long way since I graduated. But even in the last 10 or 15 years, I think we have really come a long way as a business school. And I think it's time for a refresh. And I think it's a perfect time with, Dean Dirks coming in. And where are we going to take the school for the next 5 to 10 years? And I think giving us a new set of strategic priorities that are more relevant for today is actually really, really important. And that actually really excites me.
Well, this is a great segue into my next question, Paige. I love what you said, that these are really relevant priorities. We're focusing on what we can achieve realistically with a little bit of a push, right? A little bit of a stretch. and also focusing on things that we're already good at that we can really build on and expand on that make us different from other business schools and other programs. Paige, in that vein, I'd love to hear from you why you feel like this pillar of reputation and legacy was an important thing to include as a main strategic priority. Why is this an important part of future growth and success for the school?
There's a lot of reasons, but what stands out most to me is the more the alumni are engaged in the school, actually, the more opportunities we're going to have for our students. So I think, if we can get more engagement from business leaders that provide internships while students are in school, and then when they graduate, career opportunities in terms of jobs, I think that's a huge thing that they can do. I also think as more students graduate and become successful in their own right as alumni, they're going to be more willing to contribute to the school and give back in terms of time, money, whatever they can really to help build the brand and the reputation of the school. So having it as a core component and purposely thinking about what are the things that we could do to engage alumni at all stages of their career, like from the day they graduate all throughout the rest of their career, because people have different things they can do. They can give time maybe early on, money later on, but I think mostly also sharing, being brand ambassadors. When you really care about your school and you have a really good experience, I think you're also continually sharing that in cocktail parties and board meetings and whatever. You talk about your school with pride, and it matters. It helps the school grow.
I think you made such a great point, Paige, that alums are at all different stages of their lives and their careers. At the Eccles School, we talk about students being alums from day one, that even when you are a student, you are already part of this great network of people who can help you with mentoring, with sponsoring scholarships. Nick, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the sort of younger alumni side. I think young alums sometimes think, oh, I don't have, I can't make a big financial contribution because I'm maybe early in my career. I know you've got small kids at home, a lot of young and middle-aged alums like myself, right? We have family obligations. It can be hard to see um, how we can contribute when we're maybe on the younger end of that spectrum. Talk to me about the members of your board, Nick, and how they get engaged and why it's important to them to be engaged, even if they're maybe in the early stages of their career.
Yeah, I think the way I would put it is if you go to the business school, you have and you graduate, you have this asset, right? This degree that is worth a certain amount, right? And a way you can get the value of that thing to grow um, is to mentor the students, give back, give your time, all of the pieces that Paige just talked about. The goal of going, I think we're somewhere in the 30s right now, but if we are able to achieve getting to the top 10, the value of that degree goes up. You have the ability to change the outlook of not only the students, but yourself as well. You can make your degree more powerful and open more doors for yourself. And so I remember when I was in college, I thought I had no time. Like I complained I had no time. And then now that I'm a father of three and I'm like a full-time working stiff, I have found that I truly have no time now, but I still have the ability to chair this board and give back to the U in as many ways because like I spent a whole lot of time at the U and I tried really hard to get my degree and I have the ability to make it worth more than what it was when I graduated in 2013. And you could do that with mentoring and using your time to give back to the business school. And if there's never a good time to give money. Like you might as well start whenever. It's only going to get worse. So
What a great fundraising pitch. Great fundraising pitch.
Yeah. You're always going to think you don't have enough money or enough time. Sometimes you just got to throw yourself into the chaos, and it's never going to be perfect. Um, yeah, but you can try your hardest. That's what I would say.
I think this is a great reminder, though. We sometimes think, oh, I don't have time to invest in someone else, maybe, right? Like, but when we are engaged as alums, whatever it is, coming to events, like I know you do, Nick and Paige as well, mentoring where we can, talking up the school to our friends, we're not just investing in the future of the school, but we are investing in ourselves because, like you said, that rising tide raises all of our lift no, I got that totally wrong. That rising tide lifts all of our boats, and we're not just making an investment in someone else, the abstract future of the school and future students, but we're also investing in what we earned and worked really hard for as alums of the school. So I think that is a really great reminder. Paige, I'd love to hear from your perspective. Many of our EAB board members are later in their careers. Of them are in the position to be quite significant financial contributors to the school. But the longer we're separated, sometimes the harder it can be to stay connected to something. What is it that you feel like keeps these people sort of tethered to the school? And what's the unique role that they can play as people later in their careers?
So I think the number one thing that I hear from almost everybody, and I is that the opportunities that they had at the school to get a degree and then the follow-on career changed their life. So I think that I know that was my case, right? I went there, I was on scholarship, and then I was able to launch a really successful career because of the University of Utah and also because people cared about me when I was there. So I think I really do think most of us feel like it helped us and we want to give back. So I think that's number one. I think another interesting fact is that a lot of the members who are on the advisory board have either got children or grandchildren even at the U. And so they're also hearing really current information and so they have really relevant experience that they're getting either back through their kids or grandkids or friends and family, that are also have students at the U today. So I think that they are current more than you'd think, about with what's going on at the school, and they do participate heavily. I think that they are also, as you mentioned, many of us are able to provide scholarships. Some are, provide significant amounts of money and their names are on buildings and wings of buildings and rooms and things like that, which is great because that helps with the infrastructure. But also, like a lot of us teach different classes, either as guest lectures or in golf. And I think that actually also, what you said earlier, I actually agree with. I find when I go teach class at the golf center, and you get inspired by these kids that are just amazing, and the questions that they ask and the things that they're interested in are also very inspirational to me in my stage of life right now as well. So I think it's a lot of different things that keep people connected. And I think one of the key things for the school to do is to find what are those things that are keeping people connected and do more of them, invite them back, have them come teach classes, do things that are varied and different and interesting to get people engaged and stay engaged.
I think that's great advice to think about our alums and think, what do they need, right? Not just what do we hope to get from them, mentorship, teaching, money, all the things we've mentioned before, but what can we give to alums that they want to keep them connected? I also think that sometimes in such a big right? The U is a big place. The Eccles School is a big place. It's growing so fast, just thousands of students enrolling every year. It can be difficult. Maybe I shouldn't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself in a situation like that. It can be difficult for me to say, to understand, like, what can I actually contribute? There are other people who know more, who have more, who can do more. What can I do? I'd love to hear from both of you. Nick, maybe we can start with you again. Just what you would say to alums to help them understand the role that they can play in moving the Eccles School forward. What's the elevator pitch for staying connected?
The elevator pitch. Let's see here. For me, it's easy. I when I first got into my job, I was told to um, network in things that I am passionate about, right? And my ability to, give free labor to the business school benefits me because it also gives me ability to meet people like Paige Erickson, somebody that would probably never ever pick up a phone call if I tried calling her until maybe we did this podcast. Maybe she would pick it up. I don't know. But I get the ability to give back to the school that I'm passionate about. And I think most people will see that very easily. And I get the ability to meet people at Google and Microsoft and Goldman Sachs and like all the big Adobe, all the big companies around the valley that I want to meet. And so like my network has gotten to grow, has bloomed because I have been active at the U. It it's worked out really well that our school's gotten much more powerful, and you talked about reputation and legacy and all of these things that have increased over the last decade plus. I couldn't. I made an investment in my time by volunteering because I didn't have any money, so I volunteered my time to the U, and now I have this massive Rolodex of people that I can call on that I would never have had before. And so, how do they do it? Look at it. What are you doing in your daily basis? My father-in-law always says, "Sales makes the world go around." If you can figure out a way to be, increasing revenue for your company, even if you are a technical person, like they're probably going to like you a lot more. And so look for ways to grow your network and help out your company in ways that you never thought of. And knowing all of the people at the U is or graduates at the U is, I think, one of the most important things that I've invested in.
I love that. It gives us a powerful tool that we can use in all aspects of our life, including advancing our own careers, which only makes us able to give back more and more to the school and create that virtuous cycle. And I also love what you said, Nick, about networking where you're passionate, right? And I agree. I'm not a graduate of the University of Utah, but I've been working there for several years now. And the passion that people have about the U and about the way that it's changed their lives, to your point, Paige, is certainly more than anything I ever experienced where I went to undergrad. I think it's a really special place that people really care about. And so can be a very natural fit when we're thinking about spending our time in a place that matters. Paige, what are your thoughts on just helping alums understand that what they think matters, that their voice matters, and that they really can make a difference to the school?
Hmm. I think uh, it depends on where they're at. I actually agree with Nick too that thinking about what you're passionate about. I tell this to everybody because when you're doing things you really care about, you're happier in your career, and I think you're happier in your personal life too. So I guess if people want to get engaged, I do think you could find ways to get engaged that are aligned with what you want to do in life and what you like doing in life. And that could be things like teaching a class. It could be giving advice and counsel on curriculum and what courses and programs we should be doing, and that matters. Like, I give you a good example right now is with AI, because AI is transforming business right now. And what do we need to be doing at the University of Utah in the business school specifically to help our students be productive in and around AI the day they graduate? And this could be a game changer for them. So, I do think, depending on, that's just one example, but you could use that in many different ways, so that gives, alumni an opportunity to think about what is it that I'm interested in, what industry am I in and what matters, and then provide that feedback. And always, I do think the main thing that we need to do more of is provide internships, real opportunities for students, because what I've seen is many of these kids graduate and they have all the technical skills in accounting or marketing, whatever, but they don't have relevant experience. And what business wants is both. They want them to be technically capable, but also to have the experience and the ability to work on projects and work on teams and collaborate together, and not just have the core skills. But so I think that's another way people can provide, ways, because we don't have a lot of huge businesses in Salt Lake, but we have lots of small businesses. So giving them an opportunity to figure out a way that they can help students get experience, I think would be a really good way for alumni at any company to think about how they could help the youth.
I'm going to do just a shameless plug here. Our last season of the podcast actually had several episodes on AI, including with an Eccles Advisory Board member, Mark Sunday, who spent his career in tech and IT and really had some great insights. So I think that's a great example and just one of many, thinking about what do I know about, what am I good at, what am I interested in, how does that apply to what students need to be learning and the experience that they need to get, and then how can I find a place, either through a board, through a class, through a podcast, to share those insights and that experience. I think that's great advice for all of us. We can all find a place to plug in. Well, I think we've heard just some really great personal experiences of why both of you, Nick and Paige, are so excited and passionate about being engaged at the school. I love, and I just want to emphasize this again, just the life-changing power of higher education, and that so many people have experienced that at the U, many of them for many generations, and that part of our responsibility as alums of the school and supporters of the school is also to be good stewards of that generational legacy, to make sure that we are growing the reputation of the school in a positive way to benefit ourselves, to benefit the people who've come before us, and certainly to benefit the students who will come after us. Just to close us out today, I'd love to hear from both of you in your sort of ideal utopia of alumni engagement. What would that look like? How would alums be involved? What would they be doing in your ideal world as we work towards the goals in this new strategic plan? Nick, do you want to kick us off?
Ideal world. I mean, I would say the ideal world is already coming to fruition. I mean, I was at a trivia night at a bar downtown with the young alumni. I think it's committee club. It's
Council,
the council.
the Young
Sorry,
Alumni
there's the
Council.
C
Yeah.
word.
That's right. The YAC.
And I
Yeah.
think there was 130 people there, which was amazing. I was talking to Michelle, who works for the business school, and she was talking about she was at an event in Las Vegas where they had the great grandfather attend, the grandfather attend. I think the mom was there, and then there's a current like the great granddaughter is at the U right now, who was also there. Like I, when I started, like when I was at the U, there wasn't really. I felt like there wasn't much of a network program, and now I feel like it's exploding. There's if, I guess in a perfect world, in a utopia world, it continues to grow. I always joke about this. So my mom graduated from Berkeley and UCLA, and education was really important in my family. And because I could kick a ball really far, I got into Stanford. And my mom made this comment about, well, you got into Stanford, you're going to Stanford. And I was like, no, like Utah's awesome. And they have apparently their business school is really good and it's getting better. And she's to this day, she thought it was the wrong decision. And I've been on this track to prove her wrong ever since, that the U can have this network and this alumni and this power that any other school in the entire world can have. And I think we're getting there. I think people just need to attending things and keep giving their time and keep providing internships and mentoring and all the things that can help grow our school even more. So I'll leave it at that. But
Well, that certainly is aligned with something that Dean Dirks says a lot, which is that there's no reason why the Eccles School can't be the premier educational destination in the Mountain West and even in the country. And not only can it be that, but it should be that. And that really is what we're working towards. But it takes people really being engaged and being invested in the
yeah.
school. Paige, as you look forward from your perspective, what do you hope to see in the future as far as how our alums are engaged in the kind of network that we're building?
Yeah, I think, I like the idea of starting young because I don't think that happened with me. So I'm really excited to hear what's going on from Nick with people that, recent grads. I think personally, I do think the university needs to market to alumni who have maybe not been engaged recently better. And the only reason I say that is I get marketed to like crazy from my MBA school, and I can see the difference. And I think it would really help if we were really a little bit more engaged with alumni that are, haven't been involved in a while through some sort of a marketing campaign. Because one thing I think really helps is if you are like somebody who graduated in the 80s or 90s or whatever, um, it's a very different campus now. So if we can get people back on campus to see what is going on there, I mean, it is really inspirational. I know when Taylor asked me to come join the board and I hadn't been on campus for a while, I was literally shocked at how much better the school is now and the business school, just even from an infrastructure. And I think as we go forward, I think some of the other really awesome changes have been the, the new centers that are on campus now, the ability to have first year students live on campus. I think that's going to be a game changer for creating a sense of community and building on that. So I think a lot of those things that have happened in the last 10, 15 years are really real game changers for what's going to happen going forward. So I think we're doing all the right things right now for the kids that are there and recent grads. I would say if there was an opportunity to go after some of the people that haven't been there for a long time, and maybe they were there when it was more of a commuter school, and so they went to school at home. I think they would be really impressed. And to Nick's point, the value of our degree has significantly increased because the reputation and the quality of the education that's coming out now is significantly better. And so I think that's another way for us to capitalize on all the work that's gone on in the last 10 or 15 years and what's going to happen in the next 5 and 10 years.
Well, to anyone listening who maybe hasn't been to campus in a while, this is your invitation and your encouragement to come see what's happening. It really is an inspiring place to be. The students are so engaged. They care so much about doing well and doing good, about making a positive social and societal impact. And we are working hard, as we've heard this season, to really create a lot of opportunities for them to do that. And I think just a great final reminder that alums are still part of that, even if you're not teaching in the classroom, even if you're not on campus. Your mentorship, your time, even just your example for students to look to see this is what's possible for me. Maybe I'm toiling away right now in a marketing degree or a business administration degree, a finance degree, accounting degree, whatever it is. And it's difficult to see, past my nose into the next step. But here we have, just here today, two great examples of what can be achieved with an Eccles degree, and certainly many hundreds and thousands of more great examples, and every alum is part of that. So, Nick and Paige, I'm so grateful for your time today. Thank you for being here to talk to us about this great movement, this great growth, and where we're headed for the reputation and legacy of the school. Thank you so much.
Thank
For
you.
having us.
And thank you for joining us for this episode of the Eccles Business Buzz podcast. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our final episode of the season. We'll be checking back in with Dean Kurt Dirks to get his take on the strategic planning process and to hear what he's looking forward to in the implementation phase, as well as how he's feeling with almost a full year on the job under his belt. Be sure you're subscribed to Eccles Business Buzz wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss it. And as always, you can follow us on Instagram at Eccles Alumni for all the latest news from your Eccles Alumni Network. Until next time, Eccles Business Buzz is a production of the David Eccles School of Business and is produced by University FM.